Hi, I'm George Cox for ActonTV. We have a special treat for you today. We have the staff introducing the segments. Coming up on today's show, Veteran Service Officer James McCray with a tour of World War I posters, the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce annual luncheon, and information on the May 13th Concord Women's Chorus on this edition of Talk of the Town.
Hi, I'm Mark Ducey, Executive Director at ActonTV. I had the opportunity to travel to Westford to the Parish Center for the Arts, where they were holding a World War I poster exhibit. I went out there with Jim McRae, who's the Veteran Service Officer for Acton, and we talked with George Seeley, who's the owner and collector of these rare posters. So take a look and get some history about these posters and World War I.
Hi everyone, my name is James McCray. I'm the Veteran Service Officer for the town of Acton. I'm here today at the Westford Parish Center for Arts with George Seeley, who is the owner and collector of World War I posters. Pretty much everything that would encompass supporting World War I. George, thank you so much for having us today.
Sure. I'm very pleased to be able to find a place where my entire framed collection can be displayed. I wish your audience could see the entirety of this building, but it's an amazing place, the Parish Center for the Arts in Westford. So Jim, perhaps the most popular and the most well-known World War I posters have to do with recruiting for the Army, the Navy, and the Marines. And I think the poster that most everyone has seen at one time in their lives is this one here on the wall, the I Want You for the Army poster, done by James Montgomery Flagg, who actually started to produce posters and get paid for them when he was age 12. And in this, I think he did a total of 45 posters for World War I.
Wow.
In a period of less than 2 years, probably. And I'm fortunate to have about a dozen of them. And this is one of my happiest acquisitions.
Oh, I believe it.
Now, the interesting thing that people wouldn't know just quickly is that this is James Montgomery Flagg here. He's drawn himself as Uncle Sam. Oh. And he claimed it was because he couldn't find a model appropriately at the right moment. But I think he had a little bit of an ego to him probably, and he probably liked the idea of putting himself as Uncle Sam. Sure. So before we leave James Montgomery Flagg, he didn't just do recruiting posters. This one straight ahead here, Together We Win, shows a common theme here. You have the shipyard worker in the middle, arm in arm with the guy from the Navy and the guy from the Army. The doughboy from the Army. That's a name left over from the Civil War. And they were called doughboys during World War I. So you can see the spirit of cooperation, and you can see the shipyard in the back and whatnot. Some of these posters for the U.S. Shipping Board are just incredibly colorful, like the one on the right here where the ships are coming. I mean, defy you to find more sparkling colors than in that stands out from a distance. The war had been going on for several years before the United States entered, and as you might imagine, people in Europe, war-torn Europe, were starving. Food was scarce, And so part of the United States effort in coming into the war was to produce more food at home. So not only could they feed their own soldiers abroad, but also feed the starving, people in France and Belgium or wherever else they were fighting. And the slogan became "Food will win the war," and you can see it in a lot of the posters here. And they created something called the United States Food Administration, which was in total charge of food production and food distribution.
That was the start of the Food Administration?
That's the start. And it was all voluntary, but there was so much pressure put on people that it really wasn't voluntary, And they created things like wheatless Wednesdays and meatless Mondays and whatnot, and people vowed that they would have no meat on Monday, no wheat on Wednesday,
Well, I definitely find this fascinating, and it says it right here, wheat is needed for the Allies, and I think that, the landscape of agriculture as a whole is totally different today than it was then, but it still shows, waste nothing.
Yes. By the way, just quickly, this one here is another flag poster, believe it or not. So we've seen the shipyards, we've seen the recruiting, and now he's, helping the what called victory gardens, which women and children were, urged to start their own gardens and produce their own food at home, even in their side yard. The seeds of victory ensure the fruits of peace. So another aspect of our participation in the war was to demonize the enemy. And you can go back and look at the history of the United States and note that the German immigrants played a huge part in this country. It wasn't just French and English. But World War I really set the cause of Germany back in this country. As a matter of fact, the enemy was so demonized that various places stopped teaching the German language. They stopped playing German composers and symphonies, There was all sorts of discrimination against Germans. Here you see the German depicted in this poster as the bloody Hun. He's an ogre. There's another one that shows him coming across the Atlantic with a young woman draped over his arms, who he's just ravished, obviously, and it looks like King Kong,
Yeah.
So here's the typical Hun, the evil look about him with a bloody hand, a bloody knife.
Green eyes, very dark.
Oh, God. And that's supposed to be the Atlantic Ocean, believe it or not.
And imposing and larger than life, yeah.
Right. Okay. The way to get around the fact that most people couldn't afford $50 was to sell war stamps, war savings stamps. And what they were little stamps you could buy, and they cost you 25 cents. And you could buy a book of them, of 16, I believe, and that would, once you had a full book, that's $4, and you could turn that in, and you could get a $5 stamp or something, and you could, as soon as you had 10 of those collected, you could turn them in for a $50 bond.
Oh, okay.
And people did that, and they saved up their money.
Sure.
And
their bond on layaway. So.
That's right. And again, I'm not a long-lost relative of James Montgomery Flagg, but here he is again. Yeah. All three of these posters are by him, and obviously he's got the same Uncle Sam on either side with a different message, but they're all selling war saving stamps.
Well, George, again, thank you so much for having us. You really have a fantastic collection of pieces here. Thank you so much for your knowledge and explaining to us all the ins and outs, everything that was entailed in supporting this great war that we had almost 100 years ago.
Well, if there is someone out there who's particularly interested in these posters and what they represent, I'd be perfectly happy to chat with anyone about it. Best way to get me would be an email address, Seeley, SEELEY, GW@gmail.com. I'm always interested in sharing this collection. And I just give one last shout out to the Westford Parish Center for the Arts, because this is the most amazing building I've ever been able to display my posters in.
Excellent. George, thank you again.
Bye.
And thanks for watching Acton TV.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Hi, I'm Rick Degon, studio manager here at Acton TV. Up next on Talk of the Town, Jane Ring Frank, conductor of the Concord Women's Chorus, talks with Beth Denisch, composer of the Treehouse.
Hi, my name is Jane Ring Frank. I am artistic director and conductor of the Concord Women's Chorus in Concord, Massachusetts. And I am here for Talk of the Town. We are at Trinity Episcopal Church this morning in Concord Center. And I'm here to talk about a very special concert that we are presenting on Saturday, May 13th, 4 o'clock here at Trinity Episcopal. We have commissioned a very special piece of music called The Treehouse, inspired by a tour that we are taking to Scotland and England this June. We decided to commission a piece with poetry by Scottish poet Kathleen Jamie. And I am here today with composer Beth Denisch, whom we commissioned to write The Treehouse. Beth is one of Boston's best composers, prolific, respected, and she is professor of composition at the Berklee College of Music. And we are so glad that you're here with us. Thank you. Beth, as a composer, it must be really exciting to receive commissions. And I just thought maybe you could talk to us a little bit about how that feels.
It is exciting, and as I've matured, it becomes even more exciting and meaningful to me. As a younger composer, you are just writing and writing and hoping someone will play it, and as you move forward in the career, the connections to people become more important to me, and the meaning of the music and what it means to someone else, whether it's the performer or the audience. So being approached by the Concord Women's Chorus with these particular poems by Kathleen Jamie was amazing. I immediately connected. It's part of writing about nature and concepts that have been part of other pieces that I've written as well. So I resonated right away with the words, and the music just came from there.
That's great, and I feel like we found this poetry, and as a part of your creative process, we give you the poetry and then ask you to write the music. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the process of how do you connect to the poetry, and are there times that you don't, and then how does that process work for you?
So it's interesting, because that was the first question you asked me. When you showed me those poems, you said, do these poems resonate? I don't know what you said, but that, how do I feel about the poems? And luckily, the connection was immediate and deep, because sometimes you can have a poem that's produced to you or a narrative and you're not connecting. And then I think that's a project for someone else, Luckily, it didn't happen for me. It was right away. And I also very quickly, there were 3 poems, and I knew right away, as far as structural order of the overall form, 1, 2, 3. I knew the order they needed to go and why that would be musically.
So I've been doing a lot of thinking about the poetry while we've been working the piece, and then the movements are such a pleasure to conduct. And they strike me that they're so much about the exterior natural world as metaphor for the landscape of the soul, the interiority of the soul. And I didn't know if you wanted to say anything about that. I've been very moved by them and delighted all at the same time, but I find them to, as you said, the lightness and the darkness, the range is wide in many kinds of ways, and I thought maybe you could speak to that.
She does. Kathleen Jamie is amazing, how she moves us from our inside of our souls out to look up to the sky. And I saw it all as a metaphor for inside stuff. And the first piece, Landfall, we're casually walking, very pastoral-like along the coast, watching the water. and seeing a bird that veers toward Earth. So even just the word veer, her use of words is just so right on. And then how to represent that in a musical time, because musical time isn't the same as like if you're reading the poem time. And so it constantly, her words constantly moved me from a presentation that is more external and into a representation that's more internal. So having like a natural flow that seems fine, and all of a sudden having an abrupt interruption. And after that interruption, then there's a different hue or color to the music that follows because of that. And she moves us back and forth between look out, look around you, and look inside you. And also looking at how you are now and how you were before, and the promise of how you could be in the future too.
Right. There's along with this idea that we're in the exterior world as reflection for our hopefully deep interior world, it seems to me that she's really interested in history. Yes. A way of looking back to look forward to not only know where we are, but hopefully where we're going. And what is great for the Talk of the Town audience to know is that we have also put some companion pieces on the program that represent our local area. So we have on this program on May 13th, you will also hear texts by Hawthorne and Longfellow. And our hope is that we're showing composers that have, poets that have a very deep connection to nature. And I think that this idea of nature and the landscape of the soul is one that is very spiritual in this part of the world in particular by the poets that have lived here. So Beth, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited about the piece, and again, it's been very special for me to be able to conduct your music. I really appreciate the work that you've done for Concord Women's Chorus. And I want to remind the Talk of the Town audience that our concert is scheduled for May 13th, Saturday, 4:00 p.m., Trinity Episcopal Church. And if you're interested in buying tickets, you can go to our website, concordwomenschorus.org. Or there may be a few tickets left at the door, and I know that it's going to be a very special concert. And I'm looking forward to meeting the Talk of the Town audience. Thank you very much.
Hey, this is Patrick Snow. I'm the Programming and Training Coordinator here at ActonTV. Up next, we've got Kathleen McDonald and a video highlights from the 28th Annual Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce Meeting and Luncheon.
George, for the Talk of the Town, we are here at the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce annual meeting and luncheon at the Westford Regency with Executive Director Kathleen McDonald. Tell us what's going on today.
Well, George, we have a tremendous event today. We're celebrating 28 years of being a regional chamber in Middlesex West County, which is tremendous. And we have a wonderful event. We have a keynote speaker, Jamie Trowbridge, who's president and CEO of Yankee Publishing. And he's speaking on Yankee Publishing, a story of survival, which I'm really excited about hearing. In addition, we celebrate our wonderful members' anniversaries in the chamber. We have 33 members who are celebrating either 5, 10, 15, 20, or 25 years with us today, which is exciting.
And what's great about the chamber, too, is a way of businesses to connect with each other and get their name out to the community. And tell us a little bit about that.
We're here to serve the business community, both individually and collectively, to see the Middlesex West community thrive. And we do that in a number of ways through networking, business education, business development. We have wonderful annual events where people have tremendous opportunities to, again, make those connections that are so vital to your business.
And if you want more information, make sure you visit their website at mwcoc.com. And we're going to show you highlights of today's annual luncheon. So stay tuned for that. And don't forget to check out your show,
Business Matters,
at actontv.org.
Good
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kathleen McDonald, Executive Director of the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our 28th annual meeting of the Middlesex West Chamber. I would like to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Together with the Board of Directors, I am proud to be leading this chamber, which is strengthening the 8 communities in our region by voicing support for and advocating the promotion of business. At this time, I would like to ask those members celebrating 5, 10, 15, and 20-year anniversaries to please come forward to the front of the room. So Acton Recreation Department celebrating 5 years. Alphen and Santos, Bullock's Nursing Services, Burton's Grill, Caprera Law PC, Coldwell Residential Brokerage, Concord's Tea Cakes, Emerson Dental, Fitting Fitness Inn, Great Spaces, Levine Pirro Law. In addition, other members that are celebrating 5 years are North Acton Dental, Northbridge Insurance Agency, Northeast Numismatics, Spound Development Associates, TD Bank, and Westford Community Access Television. Celebrating 10 years of commitment to this chamber is Emerge Coaching for Success. It's right there. Juice Plus, KAC Accounting Services. Congratulations, KAC Accounting Services, our wonderful bookkeeper of the chamber.
And now, it is my pleasure to present to you the new president of the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce, Maura Haberman.
Thank you, Amanda. It was a pleasure to serve as your vice president this past year. She's done a wonderful job, and I've got some big shoes to fill. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to serve as your new president. This is truly an honor, and I will work hard to exceed any expectations that this position holds. I look forward to working closely with our new Vice President, Jeffrey Turcott, and Peter Myler, Jen Scobo, Kathleen McDonald, and Jolene Sullivan. I've met a lot of wonderful people through the chamber and established many solid relationships with our local business community. I like to say how proud I am to be a member of this vibrant chamber, and I look forward to seeing you at various networking opportunities and special events throughout the year.
We are in the heart of Acton at the Acton Women's Club to talk to Mary Lou Bowery with a tour of this wonderful historic building. George here for Talk of the Town. We are at the Acton Women's Club at 504 Main Street, right next to Town Hall, with Mary Lou Bowery. Tell us a little bit about this place.
Well, this was a chapel, and it got moved in here, and it belonged to the Lutheran church across the street. That's where they had the chapel until they built that, and then they sold this building. And at first, it was in a house. Somebody lived in here. 4 families lived in here. And then it came up for sale, and the Women's Club bought it. And I believe they bought it in 1915. I'm not quite sure. I know they paid the mortgage off in 1924, so they had a mortgage burning. It's just been renovated all inside except for the kitchen. Hopefully we get a new kitchen by next year. And it's very reasonable to rent. We have a lift to bring people up in wheelchairs. We have a ramp for the people to come in. And it's all been rewired and refinished. So we have, hopefully, we get some more rentals on this. That's our bread and butter.
If someone wants to become a member, what do they need to do?
They can just join. We take anybody from Acton, any woman from Acton, and we have now extended it to 15% outside of Acton. So we do have people from Concord and Maynard and Chelmsford and Lincoln. So we do have a good crowd. We've got about 80 women now. At one time we had over 100, but people are working in this day and age, and they didn't work before. The women started this as a get-together to discuss their children and what to do with them in school and so forth. And they decided that be a nice place to have meetings every month.
You're going to give us a little tour. We're going to follow you around with the camera, and you're going to show us the different rooms. And remember, if you want more information, visit their website. And if you're a contractor, maybe and you do kitchens, get in touch with them because they need a new kitchen.
New kitchen. We got to raise the money first.
Yeah, so all right, so we're going to do a little tour. We're going to follow her around for the different rooms here at the Acton Women's Club. So stay tuned for that.
This is our living room, and we have some of our functions in here. When we serve our luncheon, we usually eat in here, and we bring in more chairs, and people sit with their lunch on their lap, and then we go upstairs to a function. This room was just rewired and repainted and re-wallpapered, so it's now up to snuff. Now we're in our lovely dining room, which we have our brunches on and our luncheons, and sometimes we're going to have the Kentucky Derby in this room, May 6th. And I have 35 people coming, which should be a fun day. And this has all been re-wallpapered and repainted also. And this is our kitchen, which hasn't been remodeled yet. We're working on that in a fundraising. We hope to get it done by Christmas of next year, I think, because it's taken us a while to raise some money for it. But it does need a new stove and a new refrigerator, a new washer, and also a new floor. So we're going to get that all done in the near future.
I must say, we got to have Pat, Rick, and the boss man do more segments on Talk of the Town. We'd like to thank everybody for watching, and if you have a story idea, maybe you want to be a correspondent, drop us a line at actontv.org. For all of us at Acton TV, we want to wish you a great week. I'm George Cox. We'll see you again next time. Want more information? You can visit mwcoc.org. And right now we're going to... Oh, well, you can do it again. That's okay. If more information, you can...
I'll help you out.
You will? Is that supposed to be helpful?
Yes.
You want to do it? That would be helpful. Okay, ready?
Episode 30. There you go.
The secret is out. Oh, okay. Sorry.